Hello everyone, I'm Beastly Eel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the latest episode of Skeleton Crew. In this episode, it starts off right where the last one left off, which is the kids falling into what I would assume is like a trash chute, and they land in some sort of beach-like area below where the spa is. So like, they're here, they have this huge mountain, and then there's the spa. And so they begin with their argument right from the get go, which is how they're going to find the ship. So Fern thinks it's a good idea that they climb up and grab the ship and get out of there. However, um, KB and Neil agrees with her. KB and Wim think it's a good idea to follow these like crab-like creatures, because they're locals. They might be able to help them find where they need to go, and that way they can then get the ship and get out of here. Get into an argument and everything else, and then they finally just agree that they should split up, in a very nasty way, but they do it anyway. So they split up. During this, we have Jack being captured by the pirates, who then put him on the ship and send him off the world, where he's going to stand trial on deciding whether or not he should live or die. So we're going to do Jack's really quick because I think this is the quickest one and the easiest one to talk about. So he tries to have the droid attack, but obviously the droid doesn't do anything. He gets captured, can't do anything, and gets brought in. He then stands trial, which is not very long, and it's basically stating he's going to be put to death. He's been charged of the crimes, and he's going to be put to death because of it. They then have the pirate code, which allows him to an appeal. The appeal, he's given a specific amount of time where he can, like, I guess you could say, he kind of has the ability to basically speak his mind to get people convinced not to kill him just yet. So in this, he talks about what he found with the captain, the old captain, specifically about what he found down there and the fact that he obviously must have found that Atten and where the treasure is. And he believes he knows exactly what it is. So because of that, he's like, I know what needs to be done. So he tells everyone the story and what needs to be done. And, he's trying to convince them. So he's going into each one of them individually and really focusing on their piece of the whole thing. So like what it is they want from everything, and he gets them to kind of really go on their side, his side a little bit, and agreeing that they want to hear what he has to say. So at the end of the thing, the wolf captain is like, fine, your appeal is up. And Jack thinks he's going to be killed because it looks like he's being captured, and the captain, the wolf captain, is like, we'll allow you to live as long as at Atten is a place that we can actually prove exists and you can get us what we actually want. And that's the end of that part of the episode. So we have Neil and Fern trying to climb up, where Fern is getting frustrated because Neil's taking forever, and Neil's like, hey, like, I'm not built like you. I can't do what you do. Not everyone can do what you do. You need to calm down. So she comes up with a plan that she ties a rope to him, and the two of them begin to move at the same time at his pace so they can get up faster and easier. We then have Wim and KB, who are dealing with their own thing. They're trying to follow the crabs when KB begins to shut down. Apparently, she has circuitry after an accident she had that basically gets her body moving the way it's supposed to because it's unable to do it on its own. So she then begins to malfunction. He has to gather a bunch of metal to form a device that's going to help her function. So he starts to do that, and she sets up the mold. She has him do it, melt it down. He puts it into the mold. It cools down enough, apparently, in enough time, where he takes it out, opens up her cranial cavity, which he then puts the piece in and sticks it into her head. He's having a difficult time. She orders him to push it in deep. He slams it in as much as he can. She then shuts down, and he thinks the worst has happened, and she pops herself back up, and she goes, oh, thank goodness. She goes, I thought, honestly, something bad was going to happen. And he's like, what? She goes, complete system failure. But luckily it didn't happen. So they begin to go off, where we have Fern and Neil, who see the ship above them being transported to what I would assume, and they assume, to be the ship's destruction. So they agree that they're going to figure out how they're going to get on the ship. They jump off and land on one of the transports that are on the ship, and begin to try to maneuver that to get them to find Wim and KB. Wim and KB find where the crabs were taking them, which is a massive crab. It looked like it was hungry and wanted to eat them. So they begin to look away and try to get away, and then they find Fern and Neil obviously flying towards them, and they begin to run towards them. They get on the same thing as them. They then take off. Unfortunately, a malfunction happens. Both their transport and the other three transports kind of smash together, and the ship collapses well away from them. Well enough that they can't see it easily, but not so far that they can't get to it. They then unite. They, talk about everything that's happened. Blah blah blah. Fern is like apologetic to KB and is like, "I'm so sorry that this happened. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have allowed this to happen." Blah blah blah. So they then run to the ship. They get to it. However, it looks like it's about to be destroyed by what I would imagine is like a, just like melt, like you have it like most like dumps where it's like an incinerator. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word for a minute. So like a massive incinerator robot that's going to break down the ship and melt it down. So they go into it, they try to blast it, they try to use all the energy in the engines to try to get themselves out of it, and unable to do so. That's when Fern decides to hit the button that they weren't allowed to touch ever, pushes it, and it's almost like an exoskeleton where the outside of the ship kind of detaches and the inside shoots out a smaller ship that all of them are on, and they begin to take off. And that was the end of that episode. So it looks like we're going to all be going to At-Atten because Jack has the coordinates. The kids have the coordinates because KB has it in her head. So they should all be able to go to At-Atten in the next episode. So very curious to see what's going to happen when they all show up to At-Atten and seeing what happens there. So from there, I think that's pretty much all we know what's going to happen. Other than that, I can't think of anything else. I would hope that they find the droid or the droids with Jack. But other than that, we don't really know much more. So for now, let me know what you guys thought of this episode in the comments down below. Did you like it, did you not, and why? And as always, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.